Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned earlier, that environmental school is actually influenced by two main theories: contingency theory and the theory of population ecology. In this particular topic, we'll be talking about contingency theory and its role in the development of environmental school. First question is, what is contingency theory? If you, as I earlier somewhere else mentioned, that encounter a new word or a new term or a new theory, as you are encountering maybe for the first time contingency theory, what can it be? I just suggested you a way out, that break that down and try to understand from the meanings of the words what it could be. Theory, you all know, is about explanation of something, and contingency is about something which you may encounter, which you are not sure about, something emergency which may happen, something unpredictable which may happen, uncertain which may happen. So the contingency theory argues that there is no one best way of doing things. No one best way of doing things. It strongly argues that there can never be one best way of doing things. Its assumption is this: as one best way is only possible when you are encountering a predictable environment. When you can always predict an environment, you can have one best way of doing things. Since you can never accurately predict what is going to happen in the future, you cannot argue that the one way is best and it is best always. The contingency theory believes that as we encounter a changing environment, we have to change our ways of dealing with the environment. If we try to have one size fit all approach, we can never succeed in the marketplace. So the contingency theory has contributed to the environmental school in the sense that it takes environment as a central actor, whichever changes and forces the organizations to change their way out to deal with the things. Design and environmental fit mean that you cannot design one thing and it can fit always with the environment. Rather, you have to alter your design as you proceed further. And there has to be a fit between not only the main system but the subsystems of the environment. Compared with others, for instance, the bureaucracy, I hope that you all are familiar with the name of Max Weber, the one who is considered to be the father of organizational theory, the one who believed that organizations are run rationally, who introduced the term of iron cage of rationality, who believed that there is a one best way of doing things, and that is bureaucracy. You all are familiar with the Max Weber's approach. The bureaucratic, this is the structure of an organization proposed by the Max Weber, who believed that it has to be there and it offers, in his opinion, a one best way. But compared to this, contingency theory argues differently. that the bureaucracy can never always succeed, because in the bureaucracy, the suitable thing is a predictable and stable environment. Since your environment is not always stable and predictable, your one structure cannot always be as effective as it is in some occasions. The scientific management you're also familiar with a fine approach of dealing things, using the scientific method in managing the organizations. Same in the scientific management, it is proposed as a one best way of doing things. The contingency theory does not believe in, and it also argues against it. Same for the scientific management, the assumption is a stable, predictable environment, whereas this is not the reality. And there are also reflections of the contingency theory of leadership, and contingency approach to managing and decision making. The contingency theory of leadership believes that no one leadership style or one leadership approach can be taken as the best approach. Since you have to face the variation in the environment, you have to alter your leadership, your approach accordingly. Same is the case with the contingency approach to management and decision making, that you cannot always use the one approach of managing or decision making, because the environment is ever changing. You have to change your approach accordingly. And it's very, very important thing before here, that there are different types of environments, and we need to well understand these different types of environments. Let us have these: stable versus dynamic environment, simple versus complex environment, integrated versus diverse market, munificent versus hostile environment. Ladies and gentlemen, environment can be stable and it can be dynamic. Your environment is all about your customers, your suppliers, your competitors, the technology, the government policies, government regulations. As an organization, you may face an environment where your customers over the year come up with the same request. And as an organization, you may face an environment where every time your customers comes up with something different. So the organizations may face stable to the dynamic environments. When the environments are stable, you relatively need less changes, but you relatively need less knowledge. But when your environment is dynamic, you need more sophistication. There is another possibility that your environment can be simple and complex. Is as simple that you can simply codify the knowledge to respond to your environment over the years. And it can be as complex that every time you have to think a new solution. And your marketplace can be integrated, may be linked, and it could be diverse. And your environment as a whole could be munificent, mean favorable, or it can be hostile. Favorable in the sense that it has got all the rules and regulations and laws and the forces which favor you. And it can be such that it every time produces a problem for you. It can be hostile. So if you think that the current environment for the traditional organization is hostile because technology is every day changing it. So conclusively, we believe one thing that we have learned so far, that there is no best one way by which organizations can manage their affairs. And this is what, because of the changing environment, and this is the lesson of the contingency theory and contingency approach to strategy making. Thank you very much.